Hello everyone, welcome to FOC class 11 and 12. In this video, we will cover part 2 for Unit 3 Fundamentals of Java Programming for class 12 IT Code 802. If you want to purchase class 12 IT Code 802 sample paper book, the links are given in the description.
Control flow. A program is nothing but a sequence of instructions. As we discussed in the very beginning of the chapter, that what is a program? It is a sequence of instructions. Means whenever we are writing a program, we are just writing a sequence of instruction. So whenever we are writing in program in Java, so the Java executes the instructions in sequential order. Means the instructions will be executed one after the other. First one instruction, then another instruction. In this way, Java executes the instructions or the whole program. Now Java provides two things. First is selection structures. For what purpose are they used? Basically, they are used to execute an instruction only if a condition holds true. Means whenever we want that if a condition is satisfied, then the instruction or the program should be executed. So for this purpose, we will be using the selection structures provided by Java. Then is repetition structure. Why is it used? It is used to execute a set of instructions repeatedly until a condition is met. Means if we want that a condition should be satisfied after a specific time or after a specific instruction. So for that purpose, we will be using the repetition structure. It will be performing the program or it will be executing the instructions repeatedly again and again until the condition we want or we have specified, until that condition is met. Means until that condition becomes true. So till the condition becomes true, it will continuously and repeatedly execute the set of instructions again and again. So let us first of all discuss about selection structures. Now, in a program, you may want to execute a part of the program based on the value of an expression. Means sometimes you will want that there should be some condition on the basis of which a block of code should be executed. So for this purpose, Java provides us with two statements. What are these statements? These are if-else statement and switch statement. So these are the two statements that are provided by Java for executing a block of code conditionally. What is a block of code? It is a sequence of statements enclosed in curly braces. We will be studying this block of code in these statements. So what is this? Basically, it is a sequence of statements. Means we write the statements in a particular sequence and we enclose them in curly braces. This is the identification of block of code. Sometimes we also write without curly braces. So whenever we want that this block of code should be executed only on the basis of certain expression, certain value, then we are going to use any one of these statements as per the requirement. First of all, let us study about if statement. The if statement in Java lets us execute a block of code depending upon whether an expression evaluates to true or false. As we were talking about selection structure and we were also talking about the expression. So whenever we evaluate the expression, it either comes to true or false. Means this will be a condition and it will either be true or false. So depending upon this evaluation, the if statement will execute the block of code. The syntax of if statement is given here. If, then in bracket expression, and then in curly braces the statements. This expression that is in the brackets, it is a condition and expression constructed using relational and logical operators. Basically, this expression which is written after if, it is the expression which is the condition based on which the statements will be executed or will not be executed. So basically this expression is the condition and we construct it using relational and logical operators. We have already studied operators, relational and logical operators. So using these, we can construct this expression or condition. If the condition evaluates to true, the block of code following if is executed. Means, as I just told you, that either the expression will be true or false. So in case it is true, the block of code will be executed. If the condition evaluates to be false, the block of code following is not executed. So basically, if the condition is true, it will be executed, the block of code will be executed, and if the condition is false, then the block of code is not executed. Here the block of code is statements. Now, if there is only one statement in the block after the if, the curly braces are optional. As we have already discussed that if these statements are only one statement, means there are not multiple statements, there is only one statement in the block of code, then these curly braces are optional. So in that case, the syntax can be rewritten as if, then expression in brackets, and then statement.
Now, let us talk about the example of if statement. If the percentage secured by the student is greater than or equal to 40%, we will declare the student as passed. So for this, we are going to write the program. This is the condition. What is the condition? That if the percentage secured by the student is greater than or equal to 40%, we will declare that student as passed. So this is our condition, and we will continue with our same program, percentage calculator program, as we already have made. So here we will be just discussing the coding and we will be showing the output. So this was our package, this was our public class. Here is the coding. This variable declaration and initialization we have already done in our previous video. Let us talk about the if statement now. So, as we had already defined the variable percentage and we had given its formula, now we are going to use the if statement. Here, the condition is that if percentage greater than or equal to 40. So, this condition is written in the brackets, and then in curly braces the expression or the statements are written. So the statement system.out.println passed. So this is the condition that we are going to use, that if the percentage of the student is greater than or equal to 40, then we have to print the statement passed. This is the only condition we have provided. So if this condition will evaluate to be true, then this command or this statement will be printed, and if this condition is not true, then this command or statement will not be printed. Also, you can see that we have used the same command with student 2 also, because we want this percentage for both the students. So we have used this if statement with both the students. Let us see its output now. So this is the output. Here student 1's percentage is equal to 86.5. We had already given it. Now the student is passed. Why? Because here the percentage is greater than 40. It is 86.5 and 86.5 is greater than 40. So we will be printing the statement passed because the condition is true here, and when the condition of if is true, then the statements are printed or the statements are executed. With student 2, the percentage is 36.0, which is less than 40. So means here the condition is not true. And if the condition is not true in case of if statement, then the statements are not executed. So here you can see there is no print, there is no statement of past, there is only the student 2's percentage. So this was the example of if statement.
Now, let us move to our next topic, if-else statement. We have just discussed about if statement. Now we are going to talk about if-else statement. The syntax of if-else statement is given here. If, then expression, and then statements of if, then else, and then its statements. Here you can see that the if syntax is the same as we studied for if statement. Only the new part is else statement. So for this you will add the keyword else, then you will put curly braces and then the statements of else. Also you can notice in the syntax that we have provided the expression only one time. We have not provided it with both if and else. We have only provided the expression after if. So please remember that the expression or the condition which is going to be evaluated, we provide it only one time after if. And the statements of if and else are separate statements. We provide them separately. So when are they executed? As we just studied in if statement, that they are executed when they are true. So we use this if else statement to also give the condition for the false expression. So if the expression is true, then the if statements are executed, and if the expression is false, then the else statements are executed. This is the basic difference between if statement and if else statement. Sometimes you may want to execute a block of code based on the evaluation of two or more conditional expression. Means it is not necessary that you are only providing one condition. There may be many conditional expressions and you may want that either both of them or all of them are satisfied or some of them are satisfied. So for these types of condition, you can use the expressions using logical operators. We have already studied these logical operators, logical and, logical or. So you can use these operators. We use logical and in the case when we want all the conditions to be satisfied. We use the logical or operator in the condition when we want only one or some of the condition to be satisfied.
Now let us discuss about example of if-else statement. If we also want to display failed when the student has scored less than 40%, we use the if-else statement. As we just wrote the program there, only we had provided the condition for the true part. Means if the expression is true, we had displayed the condition only for that part. Now what if the condition is false? Means if the student is fail, he has scored less than 40%, then it is to be displayed failed. So for this purpose we will use the statement if else. How will we use it? We will simply change this statement part of if. The if part will be same because the expression is same and the statements of if are same. Only the part we have to add is else. So we will add the keyword else and then we will put the statement system.out.println failed. So this command will print the line failed. And similarly we have used this with the student 2 also. So now let us see the result. Here you can see that the student 2 is shown as failed. In the previous example of if statement where we had not used else, there in that example only past was shown with the student 1 and nothing was shown with student 2 because we had only provided the condition when the expression is true. Here we have also provided the condition or the statements when the condition is false. So here when the student has secured less than 40 means the expression is false, then in that case the part of else statement will be executed. So here you can see that field is printed. Now let us take another example where we want to print the division with which the student has passed. We can write the following code. Basically here we want that the division of the student should also be displayed. So for this purpose we are going to use the if statement. Let us see how to use it. Here we will be using the logical operator, which is logical and, to combine two relational expressions. Let us see how we are using it. Till here the coding is same as we have done previously. From here the coding is changed. Let us discuss about it. First of all, with the if statement we have provided the logical operator. As we had already studied, you must have remembered that while using logical and, we provide two conditions and the both of them should be satisfied. For this purpose we use logical and. So here we want in first condition that percentage should be greater than or equal to 40 and percentage should be less than 60, means both of these conditions should be true. This is our main aim. So for this purpose we have written this statement. And here we want the statements to be printed passed with second division. This is the statement that we want to be printed if this condition, both of these conditions are true. So in that case this statement will be printed. Then we have provided simply another statements if percentage greater than or equal to 60 and if percentage less than 40. For these conditions also we have provided separate if statement. These are also the same if statement that we have just used. These are for student 2 and the statements that we had just discussed in previous slides, those were for student 1. The statements are same. Now, student 1 has percentage 86.5. So, this is greater than 40 and also it is greater than 60. So, for this student 1, it will be printed passed with first division because we provided this condition for percentage greater than 60. Student 2's percentage is equal to 36.0. So here the student 2 percentage is less than 40. So he is failed. So it will directly print failed. I hope this example is also clear to you.
Now let us talk about nested if. If else statements can also be nested means another if else statement within an outer if or else statement. So in nested if we are having an outer if else statement and another if else statement within this outer statement. Here you can see this example. We have used this if statement and this else statement. So this was outer if else statement. And this if statement that we have used within this if statement, outer if statement, so this if statement will be called as inner if statement. Here this programming or this coding will be part of nested if. So here what is the coding? Let us see. If percentage greater than or equal to 40. So this is the condition, and I already told you, when we are using the if else statement, we only provide the condition once. So for the outer if else statement, we have provided the condition once. We have not used any condition with else. And when we have used, or you can say when we have used the nested if, so in this case we will provide another condition because we are using another if else statement. So for this purpose we will be using another condition, and here the another condition is given and its statement is also given. So this is the example of nested if.
Now let us talk about example of nested if. Here also the coding till here, till the 11th line is same. After it we have changed the coding. Let us discuss about it. As we just discussed, what is nested if else statement within another if. So here the if statement is given here, if percentage greater than or equal to 40, and within this statement we have used another if else statement, and this is what we call as nested if. Here we have provided the outer if statement and the inner if statement also. So this is how we use the nested if. Here various conditions are provided. If percentage greater than equal to 40, then it should print passed, and if percentage greater than or equal to 75, then it should print with distinction. Else system.out.println failed. So here we have used the if statement within this if else statement. Means the outer statement is this if and this else. This combines the outer if else statement, and this if statement combines the inner statement. So this is how we have used nested if here. Similarly, we have written the coding for student 2 also. Now let us see what is the output for this. As you can see here, when the student has gained the percentage more than 75, here the percentage of student 1 is 86.5, which is greater than 75. So it is printed passed, and in the next line it is printed with distinction, because we provided that condition within the nested if, that if the student has secured greater than or equal to 75, then it should print with distinction. So here you can see it is printed, and in case of student 2 it is 36.0, which is less than 40, so it is printed failed. These were the examples of all the statements. I hope all of them are very much clear to you. Switch statement. The switch statement is used to execute a block of code matching one value out of many possible values. Basically, here in this switch statement, basically we switch between the values. Means there are many given values, many possible values, and any one value which is matched, its block of code is executed. So it is used to execute the block of code which will match that one value out of many possible values. This is the syntax given here of switch statement. Switch, then in bracket expression. As I already told you, in expression we generally specify the condition, but here we specify a kind of variable or the term which we are going to switch between. Means the values which we were talking about here, that we have many possible values, So basically we are talking for this expression because it has many possible values and we have to select any one out of these given values. This constant 1, constant 2, out of these values any one, we select the matching with this expression. And these are the statements that are going to be executed whichever case is matched. Then here a break statement is also there and a default statement is also there. We will be discussing their use also. Let us move further. So here it is the syntax. Let us talk about what is the use of various expressions here. Within the switch statement, there can be many case statements. As you can see here, these dots represent that there can be many cases just like these two cases. This is case constant 1, then case constant 2. Like this, many cases can be formed in the switch statement. There can be many case statements. The expression is compared with the constants in each case group and the matching case group is executed. So as I just told that this expression has many possible values and these possible values are all these values which are provided after the case. So whichever case is matched, whichever value is matched with this expression, its block of code is executed. Means suppose if the constant 1 is matching with expression, then the statements of case 1 will be executed. If constant 2 matches with expression, then statements of this case will be executed. If the expression evaluates to some constant equal constant 1, the statements in the case group constant 1 are executed, as I just explained already. The break statement after each case group terminates the switch and causes execution to continue to the statements after the switch. Means, suppose if here in this case, first case, the constant 1 is not matching with the expression, then how will the statement move to the next statement or the next case? For this purpose, we use the break statement. This break statement tells that this case is over, it is terminated, and we have to move to the next case. So, for this purpose, we use this break statement. If there is no match for the expression with any case group, the statement in the default part are executed. Means it also may be possible that whichever values we provided in these cases, it may be possible that none of the values match with this expression. So what happens in that case? In that case, the statements in the default part are executed. The expression in the switch statement must evaluate to byte, short, int, or char. So these are the four data types which are accepted by the expression in the switch statement. Means if you are writing any expression in this switch statement, it must have any of these four data types. Any one out of these data types will not be accepted and there will be an error. Now let us talk about the example of switch statement. Here in this example, first of all, we have created a separate class for explaining the example. We have created the class with name switch statement. I have already explained in my previous videos about how to create new project, how to create new file. All these things have been explained in previous videos. So please watch them if you are not aware with them. So let us see this example. First of all, we have written the package statement, then public class statement, and then public static void statement. Then we have started the main coding, which we are going to write using the switch statement. Now here int today is equal to 5. So first of all, as I already told in the variables topic, that whenever we are going to use the variables in Java, we have to declare them. and also initialize them. Declaration is very important. Without declaring any variable, if you are going to use the variable in Java, so there will be an error. So here we have declared this variable and its data type is int, means it is integer. So also we have initialized it and its value is 5. Then we have taken another variable string and it is its data type is string and the variable is day. Now we have started with our switch statement. Also we have provided a system.out.println statement for printing this statement. Let us see it. Switch, then as you must remember, we write expression after switch. So here our expression is today. We already discussed that this expression must evaluate to byte, short, int or char. So here the expression is evaluating to int. After that, we have provided 7 cases and at the last we have provided the default statement also. Also, you must note that after each case we have provided the break statement also, so that each case is terminated also. In case 1, the day is equal to Monday, means if the case is matching with the value 1, then it should execute Monday. Like these, all the values are given, and also in the default part, the day is equal to incorrect day, means if any of the day is not matching, means if this today is not matching with any of these case, so the default statement means incorrect day will be printed, because here in the system.out.println statement we have given day, so means day will be printed whichever day it will be. And also here we have initialized it. We have initialized today. We have given its value as 5. So where is 5? This is the case with the value 5. So it means day is equal to Friday. So let us see what is the result of it. When you save the application and run the application, then you can see the output is Friday. So the case matching with 5 was Friday, so the statement Friday is printed here. Now we have already explained all these points in the previous slide. Let us have a quick look on them. Since the expression in the switch is the variable today, which is equal to 5, the case corresponding to the constant 5 is matched. We discussed that the expression was today and it was equal to 5. So the case that matched, which is constant 5, it is matched, so the statements in case 5 are executed, which set the variable day to Friday, because this variable that was going to be printed was day, and in the matching case it was Friday, so Friday is printed. The break after the assignment causes the switch to terminate. As I told that after each statement break is also there. Why is it there? To terminate the statement. Next, execution of the statement after the switch, that is the system.out.println statement, takes place, which prints the value of the variable day. Here only the case was matched. We also wanted that the case or the matching statement should be printed. So for this purpose, we used this system.out.println statement and it printed the day, that is Friday. If the variable day was set to 10, then since 10 does not match any of the case statements, the default case would be executed and the output would be incorrect day. Now, if we change the value of today from 5 to 10, then since 10 does not match any of these values, because these values are from 1 to 7, so it will match none of the values, and we have read that when none of the values are matched, then the statement in the default part are executed. So what will be the output of this coding? So the output is incorrect day. because none of the case was matched. So the statement in the default part are executed and the statement was incorrect day. So it is printed here. Now let us move to our next topic, repetition structures. When writing programs, you might need to perform the same sequence of statements repeatedly until some condition is met. The ability of a computer to perform the same set of actions again and again is called looping. Looping is a very common term that we all have heard in our daily life, especially when we are talking about computer. In relation to the computer, we generally heard about looping. So now we are going to study about this looping. We are going to study about various loops. It will be a very interesting part. Let us start with it. So when do we require looping? Basically, sometimes we want that same sequence of statements, means the same coding is executed repeatedly until some condition is met. Means we have specified some specific condition and we have also specified in the code that until that condition is satisfied, the statement should be repeatedly executed. So the ability of computer to perform this task again and again is called looping. The sequence of statements that is repeated again and again is called the body of the loop. So here we were talking that we want to execute the same sequence of statements repeatedly. So these sequence of statements are called or are included in the body of loop. The test condition that determine whether a loop is entered or exited is constructed using relational and logical operators. Now, how will the coding know or the computer know that we are going to enter or exit the loop? Basically, it will be constructed, the test condition will be constructed using the relational and logical operators which we have already studied. We will construct this test condition using these operators and these operators will tell or will determine whether the loop is entered or whether it is exited. A single pass through the loop is called an iteration. For example, a loop that repeats the execution of the body three times goes through three iterations. Means whenever we are going through the loop, then a single pass, one single pass will be called as iteration, and how many iterations we do or how many times we are going through that loop, they will be counted as iterations. If we are going through the body three times, we are executing it three times, then it will be known as three iterations. Now, Java provides three statements for looping. First is while statement. We are going to study about this statement in detail today, and we will be studying the rest of the two statements, do while and for, in the next video. The while statement evaluates the test before executing the body of a loop. This is the structure of while statement. Here, after the keyword while, we have provided an expression. Basically, this expression is a test condition which is evaluated first, and after this evaluation, the body of the loop is executed accordingly. Means if the test condition is satisfied, then the statements are executed, and if the test condition is not satisfied, then the statements are not executed. Now let us talk about the example of while statement. Here we are going to make a program to print the squares of number from 1 to 5. So here are few steps that we have to follow to make this program, means to print the squares of numbers from 1 to 5. Our first step is initialize number equal 1. In the while statement, initialization is an important step. We have to initialize the specific variable. Here we have taken the variable number and we are going to initialize it, and its value will be 1. Test if the number less than or equal to 5. As I just told in the previous slides, that we construct that expression, that test condition, using the logical or relational operator. So here we have used this relational operator for constructing our test condition. So in the second step, we are going to construct the test condition using the relational or logical operator. So in the second step, we are going to test if the number is less than or equal to 5. If yes, print the square of the number, increment number, number equal number plus 1. Go back to step 2. So if this condition is true, means if it is yes, then print the square of the number and increment number, number equal number plus 1, as we are doing looping. So in looping we also have to move forward. So after finishing a particular iteration, the loop has to return back to the first step. So for that, the statement is also provided, and here the statement is increment number, number equal number plus 1, means we have to increase the number's value by 1. So for this we have used this statement. Now we will go back to the step 2. Why we are not going to step 1? Because the number that we have initialized, it will remain the same, only its value will be increased. So we have to proceed to the test condition. That is why we are going back to step 2. If no, exit the loop. If the condition is not satisfied anywhere, this condition in the second step, if it is not satisfied anywhere, then we exit the loop. This is how looping works. This is the body of the loop, and this is the test condition, as I already told you. Now we have already learned how the looping works. Now we are going to do this coding in Java to make our program. For this, we have first of all created our class while statement. Here is the coding. First is package statement, then public class statement, then public static void statement. Now here is the main coding. Let us discuss about it. First of all, we have initialized the variable. Here our variable is number and its data type is int. We have initialized its value as 1. Then we are starting our while statement. After while, we have provided the expression. What is the expression? It is the test condition. So here the test condition is number less than or equal to 5. This is the test condition. Then here in the curly braces, we have provided the statements that are going to be executed if this expression evaluates to be true, and if this expression evaluates to be false, then the loop is executed, and these statements are not executed in that case. So here the statements are system.out.print square of plus number, and then system.out.println equal to plus number multiply number. As we talked in the very beginning of Java programming, that there is a difference between these two statements, system.out.print and system.out.println. Basically, this second statement is used to print a new line after the execution of the statement following it, and this statement, first statement, is used to print the next line in the same line in which the statement following this statement is executed. So here we want that we should print square of and then the number which we are going to do the square of, and then we have to print equal to in the same line. So for this purpose we use system.out.print, and then we have to provide the square. How do we get the square of any number? We multiply the number by itself. So here we are multiplying the number by number so that we get the square of the number. So here we will be printed with the square of number is equal to the square of number. Here we have written plus plus number. Why have we used this? Let us discuss about it in further slide. First of all, let us see its output. Here we have seen the result. The output is square of 1 equal 1, square of 2 equal 2, square of 3 equal 9, square of 4 equal 16, square of 5 equal 25. We were to make a program for printing the squares of number from 1 to 5, and here you can see we have successfully made our program. Now how this looping works, let us discuss about it. The use of the plus plus operator is to increment the value of the number. We have already discussed about the rest of the coding. Only the remaining statement was plus plus number. So let us discuss about it. Basically this operator, as we already discussed in the operators topic, that this operator is used to increment the value. So we are using this operator to increment the value of the variable number. Also, we can write this statement as number plus plus. These both statements will have the same effect as the statement number is equal to number plus 1. Means both of these statements are going to increment the value of the variable number by 1. The effect will be same, but the process with which they are going to increment the value, that process will be changed, which we will be discussing further. Now let us move to our last topic of today, style tip for loops. First is indent your loops. Begin the statements in the body of the loop with a tab or spaces inside the curly braces. This will make the code easier to read, understand, and debug. The NetBeans IDE automatically provides code indentation. So, the first style tip for loops, so that our loops look more interesting, they are more easier to understand, to read, and to debug. Means whenever we are going to make any mistake, then we can easily debug if the code is indented. So what is indentation? You must have already studied about it in any word processing software or any other. So basically in indentation, we provide some space, some margin like this, so that our whatever we have written, it looks more readable and we can understand that easily. So here we indent our loops, means we begin the statements after giving tab or space, so that the statements look more readable and we can understand them easily. Also, if there is some error, then we can find it out easily. You can see here the difference between the indented code and the non-indented code. Here this looks more readable and we can understand it more easily because we have begun the statement after providing some space, and here we have provided no space, so it may be a little bit difficult to read and understand. Also, the NetBeans IDE provides automatically the indentation. We do not need to do it separately. The NetBeans IDE will provide you automatically. Here is our second style tip for loops. If there is only one statement in the body of the loop, the set of curly braces enclosing the body can be omitted. Means, as we studied in the syntax or the structure of while statement, that after the expression we were providing the curly braces for the statements, but it is not necessary to provide those curly braces when we are only having one statement in the body of the loop. If there is more than one statement, then you must provide the curly braces, but if there is only one statement, you may omit those curly braces. Here in this example, there is only one statement, so we have omitted those curly braces. The do-while statement evaluates the test after executing the body of a loop. To understand this do-while statement, let us compare it directly with the while statement, then you will understand it more clearly. If you can remember, then in the while statement, we used this part while and then expression. This part was at the beginning and then statements were there. So basically in the while statement, firstly test condition was evaluated, whether it is true, whether it is false. This was evaluated, and on that evaluation, on the basis of that evaluation, the statements were executed or not executed. But here in the do while statement, first the word is do, means the statements will be executed once and then the condition will be evaluated, because this part where the test condition is given, this part is given after the statements. So first of all, in do while loop, the statements are executed once and then the test condition is evaluated. If it is true, the loop continues, and if it is not true, it is false, then in that case the loop is exited. This is what and how the do while loop works. Let us talk about example of do while statement. It will make the things more clear to you. Now, here we have taken the same example of writing a program to print the squares of numbers from 1 to 5. This is the same example that we had taken in the while statement. We are using the same example so that you can understand the difference between the two statements more clearly. We will also be taking a different example for better understanding. First of all, let us proceed with this example. The first step is initializing number. This step is common and same in both of the loops. In while loop as well as do while loop, we have initialized the variable first. Here our variable is number and we have initialized its value as 1. Then in our second step, we have printed the square of the number. This is the difference. There in the while loop, we were executing or we were evaluating the test condition first, but here we are going to execute the statements first and then we are going to proceed with our statements, and after this we will be evaluating the test condition, and if the test condition is true, means if it is yes, then we have to go back to step 2, and if it is no, means if the test condition is false, then we have to exit the loop. So this is how the do while loop works. Body of loop, this is the body of the loop and this is the test condition. You can see clearly that here in the do while loop we have the body of the loop before the test condition, whereas in while loop we were having the test condition before body of loop. So this is the coding for our program of printing the square of numbers from 1 to 5 using the do while statement. Let us see the coding. The package statement will be the same because we are using the same package. The public class will be different because here we have created a different class. Then public static void main, this line or this statement. After this we will start our main coding. In this, first of all, as we just discussed, that we will initialize the number as 1. So here we have initialized the number. After it we have started the do while statement loop. Here first of all we have provided with the keyword do and we have then started with our curly braces. Why have we put curly braces? Because here we are having multiple statements with us. So here the statements are system.out.print square of plus number, and then system.out.println equal to plus number multiply number. So these two are the same statements as we talked about in the while statement, because here we want to print this statement after this statement only in the same line. That is why we use this statement system.out.print and this system.out.println statement for printing the next line in the new line. After this we have given the condition plus plus number also, so that it is the increment of number also. If there is no increment in the number, then it will be an infinite loop. So it is necessary to increment the number also. For incrementing the number, we have given this condition plus plus number. After closing the curly braces, we have provided the while statement and its test condition also. The test condition is number less than or equal to 5. This is the test condition. So here, as we already discussed, that first of all in do while loop the statements are going to be executed, and after the execution of the statement, the while part means the test condition will be evaluated. So let us see the output. This is the output of the do while statement. You might be wondering that the output is same as that of the while statement, because the while statement also printed the same output was given by the while statement also and the do while statement also, but there is difference between the two. We will be discussing this difference. To understand this difference, we will be taking an another example, but here in this example let me explain. First of all, the square of 1 is printed. After printing the square of 1 is equal to 1, after this statement, after the execution of this statement, the test condition is evaluated. The number is incremented to 2 and then it is checked that whether 2 is less than or equal to 5 or not. So this is the test condition evaluated after the execution of the body of the loop. So this is the basic difference. I hope you understood. We will be also taking another example. Just wait. Now let us understand the difference between while statement and do while statement. Here we have taken that example and both of these statements are given together so that you can understand better. Let us see. This is the do while statement and this is the while statement as indicated by these arrows. So let us understand. Here, as I told you, the first step is similar in both of the loops. That is, we have initialized the number, which is the variable, and we have initialized its value as 1. Then the main difference that I just told, that here in do while loop or the do while statement, we first have body of loop, whereas in the while statement we are first having test condition. In do while loop we are having the test condition after the body of loop, whereas in the while statement we are having the body of loop after test condition. Means in a way we can say that both of these are opposite to each other. The thing which happens first here is the thing which will happen on the second number here. So first of all, here the body of loop is going to be executed in the do while statement and then the test condition will be evaluated. Whereas in the while statement, first of all the test condition will be evaluated and on the basis of that evaluation, the body of the loop is executed or not executed. Here the difference is given in the table form. Let us study it. While loop. A while loop is an entry control loop. It tests for a condition prior to running a block of code. Means when we are talking about while loop, then it is a loop which controls the entry. So we call it entry control loop because it is controlling the entry of the loop. Means whether the block of code is being executed or not, it will be tested according to the condition. So the condition is tested first prior to running the block of code. Whereas in do while loop, it is an exit control loop. It tests for a condition after running a block of code. Means the body of the loop is executed for once and then the condition is evaluated. After this evaluation, it is tested whether the loop is to be continued or it is to be exited. So we can say that the do while loop is exit control loop. Then, a while loop runs 0 or more times, body of loop may never be executed. This is a very important point, that while loop may run 0 or more times. Means it is not necessary that while loop runs at least one time. It has to run one time. It is not necessary. A while loop may run 0 times also, means it may be possible that the body of loop is never executed. Why and in which case? When the condition is not at all true. Because in the while statement, first of all the condition is tested, and if the condition is not true, then the body of loop will not be executed ever. Then in do while loop, it runs once or more times, but at least once. Because here in the do while loop, we are first executing the body of loop, and after the execution of body, we are going to the evaluation of test. So we can conclude that we are executing the body at least once. Means it is necessary that while using the do while loop, the body of the loop is executed at least once, and it is not necessary in the while loop. Then comes the variables in the test condition must be initialized prior to entering the loop structure. In case of while loop, it is necessary that you must initialize the variable before entering into the loop structure. Body of loop is executed at least once. It is not necessary to initialize the variables in the test condition prior to entering the loop structure. Means in do while loop, it is not necessary that you are initializing the variable before entering into the loop structure. You may even enter without initializing the variable. There is no restriction. So these are the difference, and at last the syntax of both the statements are given. You must know this syntax also, because if you remember this syntax, then you can easily tell how both of these statements work. And even if this difference comes in exam, because this is a very important difference, it may also come in your exam, so you should prepare it very well. And if it comes in exam, then you must write this structure of both the statements, because it will give you marks. Here in the while loop, first of all condition is there and then are the statements, whereas in the do while loop, first of all the statements are there and then the condition is there. So I hope this difference is very clear to you. Now, as I told that we will be taking the same example as well as different example for understanding the difference between while and do while. So here we are with the different example. Here we are taking the case when the variable number is initialized to 6. Till now we were initializing the number to 1. Now we are initializing the number to 6, because in the previous case when we were initializing the number to 1, in that case the output was same, and some of the students might be confused that what is the difference. So to understand this difference, we are going to change this initialization. Means we will change the value which is going to be initialized. So here we have initialized the variable number as 6. The while loop would first test whether number less than or equal to 5, because in while loop the test condition is evaluated first. So here in while loop, first of all it will be tested that whether the number is less than or equal to 5, because this is the test condition, so it will be evaluated first. Now you can see here we have initialized the number as 6. So is it smaller or greater than 5? Of course, it is greater than 5. This means that this condition is false in this case, and the loop body would not be entered, and as a result, nothing is displayed in the output window. So, as I just told, that in while loop, first of all, we are going to test the condition. If it is true, then only it will be executed. But if it is false, it is not executed. So here in this condition, it is false. So that is why the statement is not going to be executed and nothing will be displayed in the output window. However, in the case of the do while loop, now what will happen in do while loop if we are using this same initialization in the do while loop, then what will happen? Since the body of the loop is executed before the test condition, the square of 6 is printed, then number is incremented to 7. Means, as we just discussed, that in do while loop, first of all, the statement is executed for at least once. Means the statement will be executed for one time at least, and here the statement is executed. Square of 6 is equal to 36. After this execution of statement for one time, the test condition is evaluated. Means the test condition is evaluated after the execution of the body of the loop. So after this step, the number is incremented to 7 because we wrote number is equal to number plus 1. So here we change the number from 6 to 6 plus 1, that is 7. Now we are going to test this condition. Now the test for number greater than equal to 5 is made. Means now we are going to do the test condition. We are going to evaluate it. Now here 7 is of course greater than 5, means the condition is false because the main condition was number is less than or equal to 5, but 7, it is greater than 5. So here the condition is false. So after this step, the loop is exited. Why? Because here we have proved that the condition is false after execution of statements for one time. So the basic difference between while and do while was that in while loop, we were first evaluating the test, and after that we were accordingly executing or not executing the body of the loop. Whereas in do while loop, we are firstly executing the body of the loop, and after it we are going to test or evaluate the test condition. And on the basis of this evaluation, it will be decided whether the loop is to be continued or it is to be exited, because here the condition is false, so that is why the loop is exited. Now let us move to our last topic, common coding errors of loops. So there are two types of common coding errors, infinite loops and syntax errors. Let us discuss about them. Infinite loops. This type of error occurs when the loop runs forever. The loop never exits. This happens when the test condition is always true. So, as its name is suggesting, infinite means it will never end, means it will never exit. So, basically, this type of error occurs when the loop runs forever, means when the loop is going to be run forever, this type of error occurs and we call it infinite loop. And when does this happen? This happens when the test condition is always true. Here we have used the while statement and we have provided this test condition, number less than or equal to 5. Now here you can notice a change if you have remembered the coding of while statement of this program that we just used in the previous videos. In that we also provided a condition that number equal number plus 1, but here that condition is missing. The condition is not given anywhere here. So what will happen in this condition? The number will always remain at 1. The number will never increment, never it will increase by 1 because we have not provided that condition number equal number plus 1. So the number always remain equal to 1, and whenever it tests, then the test condition is always true. So in this case the loop will run forever because the number is never changing from 1, and the loop will continue to run forever. This kind of error is called infinite loop. Now let us talk about syntax errors. As its name is suggesting, they are the errors which we commit while writing the syntax. Means the errors in the syntax, the mistakes that we make while writing the syntax. For example, if we miss any semicolon or if we put an extra semicolon. So in these cases, we get the syntax error. The compile error is a kind of syntax error. Do not forget the semicolon at the end of the test condition in a do while loop. So when you are writing the do while loop, it's coding you are writing. So there you should not forget the semicolon at the end of the test condition. Whereas in while loop, you do not put the semicolon after while loop, or we can say the test condition, because this will give error. If you place the semicolon here after the test condition of while statement, then it will be an error. Here in this case, if we talk about the same example, if we are going to put the semicolon here after the test condition of while, then the loop will become an infinite loop because the semicolon after the while causes the statement to be repeated as the null statement. Now tell me one thing. Here we have initialized the number and here we have given the test condition. But what after if? Because here we have provided the semicolon, and semicolon means end of the statement. So the statement will be simply ended here and it will have no relation with the execution of this block of code, because this block of code was to be executed with the while statement, but we have put the semicolon here which causes the while statement to be stop here, and the statement is going to work as null statement which will do nothing. So it will be an infinite loop and nothing will be executed. This is the main difference that you must remember, that in do while loop at the end of the test condition you should put the semicolon, it is necessary, whereas in while loop you should not place a semicolon at the end of the test condition. This is the basic difference, you must remember it.
So that was all for today. If you have any doubt, you can ask in the comment section and I will answer. We'll meet you soon in the next video. Till then, bye bye.